Sweet.
All right, guys. So like I said, me and DiceTry here, we're going to take a look at the live stream that Wizards did earlier today for Kaldheim as their first day, kicking off all their previews, getting a better idea of the landscape of the world, the plane itself. So we get a little bit of backstory there, get some cards, preview to us. Me and him, we were both working at our day jobs earlier today, so we missed it, unfortunately. Very unfortunate. They always do these things at very strange hours. I know they're West Coast, so...
well, early in the morning for me. So
yeah, it was... Exactly. It was in the afternoon for me, so, I mean, it was right smack dab in the middle of the work time, so it doesn't really matter. Guys, if anything's going wrong with this stream, go ahead and let us know in the chat. This is my first time doing a stream in a very, very long time, so I had a couple technical roadblocks. And I'm not even sure if my internet's going to be able to handle upstreaming because I have a lot of people in my home right now working from home, so there's a lot of internet usage being soaked up.
I'm sure it won't be good.
Yeah, you know what? We'll have it sussed out eventually. If we want to continue doing this a little bit more regularly, maybe.
Yeah.
Cool. Double Dasher, thank you for letting me know the stream's doing well.
Nice. Good.
Nathaniel, I do not have a preview card because, well, I was not given one.
Hate lore creators, I think.
That's
another story.
That is a very interesting story that we can get in at a different time. And believe me, I have a lot of grievances, but I won't get into that because this is going to be a happy stream.
Let's just get hyped. Yeah. That's
Okay.
really what this is about today.
And we got a $2 donation already from my lovely wife. Because she
how
promised me that she was going to donate during this little stream. She's very lovely. It's basically like I just gave money to myself, so appreciate it.
Hey.
Love you. Anyway, all right, guys, we're going to get started with this. I know there's going to be like some dead air time. We're going to just pause the video all throughout whenever there's a card, do a little discussion, and yeah, see where it goes from there. Let's see this. And yeah, continue. Just let me know if there's anything to do with like... the volume or anything like that you guys would like to see adjusted.
Yeah, work in progress.
I am going to fast forward just a little bit through all this metal band stuff. When I was setting up my audio my audio levels, I was like, all right, yeah, this is cool. They're doing this whole metal rock band crossover thing with Kaldheim.
Like to get just like right into the actual...
Absolutely. I'm with you on that. All right, where's it go? Oh, I'm gonna get absolutely destroyed by copyrights.
Yeah, this one's just for fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be just for fun. All right, here we go. This looks like an actual part.
Oh yeah.
Of this... Okay.
Start back a little.
Let me know if you want to start at the same time. We good?
Yeah, I think you're good.
All right, Planeswalkers. Oh, good lord. Okay.
That's a resounding yes.
All right.
Well, all right then. First up, we have
DiceTry, are you a heavy metal fan?
Yeah, actually, quite much so. That's why I wish I got some of the. Oh, that's why I wish I
All
got
right.
some of the cool stuff.
We can pause it here real quick. So they introduced us Kaya. Obviously, like we saw from all the other like the packaging and the marketing material that Kaya was going to be in this set. I mentioned when I first saw her included in Kaldheim that I thought it was kind of a weird choice given where her story left off. It was more like I just didn't understand how she was going to get to Kaldheim or what she was going to be doing there.
I mean, like Planeswalker's just getting around is whatever, and that's not like a big deal to me. But like story-wise, I'm kind of confused. I really think Tibalt makes sense because he's just mischievous and he takes like that good low-key position, but. I'm kind of curious to see what Kaya will have to do with any of this. And it's not even really like too ghostly of a plane, but maybe all the Valkyrie business and whatnot. There's some afterlife aspect to it.
Yeah.
But if there's like afterlife aspect, Tibalt, and then if this Phyrexian stuff is true, then it's like it seems like it might be a messy story, but we'll wait and see, I guess.
Yeah. So whenever I talk about a planeswalker getting to a plane or a set or anything like that, I always mean it in like a story context. You know, obviously planeswalkers can go wherever the heck they want. But what's going to drive them there? What's going to make sense for them to be there? And when I think of a Norse-inspired world, like Kaldheim heavy references to Norse mythology all throughout, obviously. Like, I know there's an afterlife, I know there's Valhalla, all that kind of stuff, but I don't know much about Norse mythology. I only know what I know from other video games, so take it with a grain of salt.
That's pretty much like where it's just like all reference based, pretty much. But.
Yeah. So I just didn't understand where there was going to be a heavy ghost presence, and Kaya was literally all about ghosts. We don't really know any other aspect of her story outside of, ghost-centric plots. So, but the Planeswalker itself, it's a 5 loyalty counter, 3 mana, Orzhov colors, so same way that she was, like, she's been introduced as white-black.
I'm just glad that it's not a 3-cost one, so.
Yeah, exactly.
At least we're off to an alright start.
Her +1 ability, put a ghost form counter on up to 1 target non-token creature. It gains when this creature dies, or if it's put into exile, return it to its owner's hand and create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying.
That's kind of fun.
That is very fun. The fact that you get to return it to your hand as it dies and also gives you a 1/1 spirit token in its place is really good.
Yeah, I think that'll be fun.
I don't know how you like to judge Planeswalkers. I personally judge them based off of their ability to defend themselves when they hit the board. If a Planeswalker cannot defend itself when it hits the board, I think it's utterly going to be fall flat. Yeah. Just really hard to work with.
For sure. And I want to preface this by saying I'm by no means a Magic expert when it comes to the physical part of the game, but she has to be able to protect herself.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I usually look for, I love playing janky decks, and especially sacrificing decks and resurrecting decks and stuff like that. So I actually think I'm going to enjoy playing around with this card quite a bit.
Yeah, and I'm not a pro at Magic either. I'm really not. I play mostly limited, so I don't even play standard very often.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
So every time I look at a card, it's like, ooh, would I draft that? Most of the time you're gonna draft a Planeswalker no matter what. But in this case, this card's actually really good. It does have a way to defend itself. It's -3 ability, exile target non-land permanent. So as soon as it hits the board, you're able to get rid of something nasty. It's +1. It allows you to block effectively, but it does require that you already have a creature out.
Yeah. So it's definitely its pluses when you're already set up and you got a combo in mind.
Yeah.
But at least it can protect itself and still have 2 loyalty.
Yeah.
That's pretty nice.
It's definitely more of a win more +1. But I mean, adding loyalty counter abilities are always kind of that way. They're never too strong. This one I think is still pretty good because it does allow you to. It becomes very, very imposing from a defensive standpoint. You use this on a creature, and your opponent's like, I can't attack it now. They're just going to block it. It's not going to die, and they're going to get a 1/1 flyer out of it. So
I'm saying it's a fun card now, but I'm sure I'm going to get frustrated with dealing with it with infinite blockers. But I have seen some things spoiled, and there is some lower cost, easy, cheap Planeswalker type removal. So it might not be so bad.
Okay, well, I'm sure we're going to see that here. And, of course, just really quick, looking at its ultimate ability, you get an emblem for -7. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may cast a legendary spell from your hand, from your graveyard, or from among cards you own in exile without paying its mana cost. Obviously, it's broken. Obviously, it's fantastic.
I mean, it's an ultimate, yeah.
It's an ultimate. I do find it kind of strange that they're putting a lot of emphasis lately on the keyword legendary. A lot of cards interact with legendary cards specifically, so it does seem really good.
Maybe they're pushed for commander is just kind of
absolutely.
Center.
No, completely agree with that. And it's funny because from a limited standpoint, I'm looking at ultimate I'm never gonna cast that. That's terrible.
Yeah.
How many legendaries am I gonna possibly have in any of those places?
For sure. Well, and I mean, it almost, even in standard, you don't really hit the ultimate too often. It's more of that clock anyways. But.
Yeah. Still, its +3 alone is really, it makes it effective. It's 5 mana, so it's kind of on the higher end. But, I mean, I would draft it all day, of course.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to definitely play with it.
All right. Okay, I'm going to hit play real quick. We get to see the other Planeswalker involved here.
Sounds good.
Don't want to spend too much time on this because I know we both kind of have a time crunch in terms of how long we can actually be streaming tonight. So, I love the borderless art though.
Yeah,
it looks absolutely beautiful.
Okay, who else do we got?
Next up, we have Niko Aris.
All right, gotcha.
I am super excited to introduce.
All right, so Niko Aris, I did a little bit of a lore breakdown already on Niko for my channel, introducing them as the very first, like, openly kind of trans character in Magic the Gathering. One that's, like, front and center, that's part of their built-in developed story. So, obviously, that's cool, that's awesome. But now we get to see their actual abilities.
See some more Theros planeswalkers, even though I would have liked them to actually use Calyx instead of just like briefly showing them, but
Calyx
plane definitely feels like a lot of the planeswalkers. I don't really know why they're here, and I mean, like, obviously the story will hopefully kind of clear this all up, but it's like we got this one from Theros, we got Kaya, we got Tibalt. It's a mosh posh. I've been really fearing that it's going to be kind of a messy story. I have I hope that that's not the case. But it just kind of feels like there's a lot going on.
So this is the very first article, online article for Kaldheim's story actually came out today as well. So that's up there. I haven't read it yet,
I didn't even notice that.
I'm definitely gonna make a video on that as soon as I possibly can. But Niko, from what I know so far, is that Niko kind of accidentally comes to Kaldheim. It's their first planeswalk. So
like right after
they literally
ignited, it's just like that's where
exactly their spark literally just ignited it, and we're joining them as like they learn what's a planeswalker, what is this different world, how does this clash with what I know from Theros, you know?
Yeah, that's cool to see for sure. I like that. Still have my fears about a lot going on, but either way, it's cool to see like the story where it's like their first plane where a planeswalker jumps into, and it's that confusion.
And by the way, I want to catch myself because I said that this is a trans character. That's not actually correct. They're non-binary, so I do want to catch myself right out the get-go, because I want to make sure that I'm actually like their story. Their story is what the writer wants it to be, and they want it to be that. So I'm going to treat it like that. End of discussion. For sure. But this is our first time getting a look at the actual planeswalker card itself. So it's a planeswalker cost with X in their actual mana cost, 3 loyalty counters, X.
Quite interesting.
Exactly, and 1 white, double blue. They enter the battlefield, create X shard tokens. So you can pay as much as you want for the X and create that many shard tokens as they come into play. And shards, it looks like they act just like treasures, right? Well, kind of like treasures. More
or less. Yeah.
So they're going to be
scry and draw a card. Interesting.
Yeah, so they're going to be enchantments that you can pay to sacrifice those shard tokens, scry 1 and then draw a card. So nice. I mean, it's pretty good. You can pay as as little as 0, right? You can pay as
shards. Oh yeah, that's true. You can draw them as a 3. I think unless shards have like a secondary use, I'm not like super like stoked on them, unless there's cards that combo with them. If it's just straight up only Niko summons them and then they only do the scry and draw, it's kind of cool, but
I highly doubt that that shards are going to be a secondary mechanic in Kaldheim. I don't think you're going to see another card with the keyword shards. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. It seems very, very planeswalker specific because Niko has the planeswalker ability of creating like these shards of glass that can transfer matter between like in them. So I would be very shocked if a freaking giant on Kaldheim's like, hey, I can do the same thing, Niko. So
that's very true.
So
I will see. It is kind of cool that it's like the later in the game you draw him, the more value you kind of get out of him, or you can rush him out pretty early. It's kind of cool.
I'm
not as excited.
I'm not very excited about this planeswalker either, but I do like it from a limited standpoint. The flexibility of a card being good late game or good early game is always great. Like you can always play them early and not get the shards, but still build up those shards over time with their abilities. Or you can slam them late and use them as a mana sink if you have nothing else.
Totally. Well, and I mean, I don't really play limited, but like draw is usually not that easy to come by. So having a little bit weird shards to draw with is kind of nice.
Yeah, these shards are just better treasures in my opinion, so looks good. But does it have an ability to protect itself? It's +1. Up to 1 target creature you control can't be blocked this turn, and whenever that creature deals damage this turn, return it to its owner's hand. Okay,
Weird.
that is very strange. So you get to have one unblockable creature this turn, but with the downside that, or maybe upside depending on how you play it.
Yeah, I'm sure like people have some pretty like fun effects to do with it, like at your
Absolutely.
entering battlefield abuse.
From my limited perspective, typically bouncing a creature back to my hand that I have to recast is not good, unless there's something with it that's annoying, but not too much of a plus side there. But you do get an unblockable creature, so I mean you put the +1 on something big, and then you get some free damage. It's fine. Still, it's no protection for Niko themselves. -1, Niko Aris deals 2 damage to target tapped creature for each card you've drawn this turn. Oh, yeah, I don't know about this. It is a form of removal, but it's a very limited in scope form of removal.
Yeah, I mean, considering the colors, maybe it'll be just like a control kind of card.
Oh yeah, it's definitely control-y because you're going to get card advantage with this card out of their shards. You definitely are. And then you have the ability to snipe something with the cards that you've drawn, but it still only targets a tapped creature. I guess in a control deck, if you're tapping things left and right, maybe, but then you're looking at like basically a 2-card combo where you have to use this ability plus another card just to deal damage to it, and then you have to ensure that you've drawn enough cards to do enough damage to kill that creature. It seems like a lot.
In the end, it's probably more like on your second turn if you got a bunch of shards, and then you can just like pop a bunch of them and then deal it. But I would like if it would have, I would have liked it if it would have been able to hit face. But
yeah, if it could hit face or even Planeswalkers, I think it would be much
finisher or something.
Yeah, but the fact that it can't
creatures is so specific.
It's very specific. So and then another -1. They actually have no ultimate ability. They just create a shard token. Which is
I don't mind those.
No, I mean like ultimates they're so rarely get played because Planeswalkers just have so much aggro as soon as they hit the board. But judging from this, there's no easy way for Niko to protect themselves when they hit the board. It's going to be really tricky.
It'll be tricky.
Yeah,
for sure.
At least from in limited, it's going to be a little bit trickier. Still, the shards are fun. All right.
Could be good. We'll have to see. I'm sure somebody with quite a bit of knowledge has got, secret combo.
Dude, there are brewing geniuses out there that can make gold out of jank, and I am not among them. I'm just not. Okay, well let's move on. We'll get to the next kind of cards here. Kind of see where we get to go. All right. Do you mind if I skip a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay, so here's a different the borderless art for Niko. I like this actually a lot.
I mean, I prefer the borderless art.
Oh yeah, it looks beautiful. They always are killing it with those.
Next up, we have an elf planeswalker.
Ah yes.
Yeah, he's a beefcake.
This guy looks metal.
Woo.
I think that's the way he would want to be introduced.
He is the beefcake of the set, for sure.
I like his. I don't really like that second art for him as much.
No, he looks way more like boyish. Like, yeah, he's not brooding enough for me.
Tibalt, when it's all about.
So wait, we didn't get to see the Planeswalker card itself. Tyvar Kells.
I like that art for Tibalt. That is sweet.
All right, so Tibalt, Cosmic Impostor. So we knew Tibalt was going to be in the set. He was in the trailer. He's on the promotional art. This is the biggest Tibalt card I've ever seen. 7 mana.
Yeah,
he's beefy.
But it's one of those. It's a flip card.
It is a flip card, and it looks like the other side says God. So I'm really interested to see what the hell that's about. Flip cards are back in Kaldheim, guys. We got a preview card, or well before this stream. There was a God Halvar, I believe.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, Halvar. I forgot his title, but he is a flip card who other opposite side is a legendary equipment, a sword, Sword of the Realms. So I
remember that.
Yep. So I actually originally thought that all the gods were going to turn into weapons or artifacts of some kind, but it looks like it looks like Tibalt is pulling a Xenagos here and taking on a god form, which is funny to say because this is not the first time we've seen a Planeswalker turn into a god, funnily enough.
Totally. Well, I mean, it totally makes sense too, especially like, I don't know, they are sort of that in between of gods as far as the multiverse goes.
Yeah. So just taking a look at the name Tibalt Cosmic Impostor, I'm assuming he is pretending to be a god of some kind.
Yeah.
Rather than actually becoming a god, because gods on Kaldheim work a little bit differently than gods that we've seen on other planes. So unlike the Theros gods, who are these like immortal kind of cosmic beings that live, they're like living representations of like ideologies, thoughts, concepts, exactly. They can't really be killed necessarily unless people stop believing in them. So they have
indestructible and everything.
Exactly, that's why they have indestructible. But Halvar, the god that's already been spoiled, does not have indestructible to it, because the gods of Kaldheim are way more human. They're much more mortal. I believe, I don't know any of this yet, but judging from Norse mythology and what I know from it, if they're killed in like a mortal plane, they just return to the realm of the gods or whatever. But they can very much
bound to live and die often, kind of thing.
Exactly. Like they're warriors, they're gonna fight and they die as a consequence, but then they just come back. So they might not be indestructible, but in the story they kind of persist. So let's take a look at this card. This is like the biggest Tibalt card I've ever seen in terms of cost. He's gone a long way since his days on Innistrad, where he's getting his ass kicked by Soren Markov. 5 loyalty counters for 7 mana, Rakdos colors. As Tibalt enters the battlefield, you get an emblem, so you get an emblem right off the bat that says you may play cards exiled with Tibalt Cosmic Impostor, and you may spend mana as though it were of mana of any color to cast those spells. Okay, so that's already really interesting. But if you lose your Tibalt, then the emblem becomes essentially worthless. But we'll see. +2, exile the top card of each player's library. So you, your opponent, and then all your opponents, if it's like an EDH game. So there's going to be like 6 people.
That's true,
That's going to give you...
would be a lot more fun there.
Absolutely. One-on-one on like a standard or limited match. Not very exciting. You get 2 cards to pick from. Believe me, that's fun. You get to potentially play 2 different cards there. Your card and your opponent's.
Totally.
But if you have...
We'll have to see what the flip is, because paying 7 is a little bit pricey.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. This is a very expensive Planeswalker. But in an EDH, in an EDH commander game, having a whole play group and having your pick of the litter to play whatever they exile from the top of their library is very fun.
You're more or less draw 4 kind of thing.
It's insane. But he does have a way to protect himself. His -3 is exile target artifact or creature. It gives you a little bit more flexibility with getting rid of some artifacts if you...
Yeah, which is interesting.
It's fine. It's
I'm
fine.
assuming it's because of the weapons and stuff will be artifacts.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a good... If there's nothing else, if your opponent doesn't have any creatures out, you're probably winning the game if you have this guy out already. But it gives you some flexibility there. It's always nice. And then it's -8.
I think they're just obviously like quite scared to make them super easy and broken starting the new year off, obviously.
I can understand why they want to pull back a little bit. There have been complaints in the community about them pushing cards, pushing power a little too hard.
It's probably safer being a little bit on the
I mean, 7 mana already puts this guy in a very, very limited scope in terms of playability, especially in red-black, which is traditionally kind of like aggro-y. Like,
you don't have to toss green in there, maybe.
Yeah, this guy is not. Looking at his abilities right now, he is not an aggro card at all. He is a kind of like almost control-y, like.
Yeah, for sure.
And then it's -8 ultimate ability, which isn't too ultimate-y. It is. Don't get me wrong.
Keep him on the field instead of popping an emblem on 8.
Exactly. Well, it's not an emblem. It's exile all cards from all graveyards and then add 3 mana to your mana pool. So obviously, it's a way to you can get something that you really want out of someone's graveyard, or that's something that's been cast already.
No, it's because you exile all graveyards, and those are exiled by Tibalt, and then you cast those. Okay, so that's pretty cool then.
So it's graveyard hate. It's graveyard hate tied with his ability.
Gives you a little bit of mana to actually spend on those cards that you exiled.
It sucks it's only 3 mana. You're paying 8 loyalty counters. Maybe you should have gave you like 5 mana or something.
Yeah, I know. Hey, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
but
why it's kind of like on the fence of feeling like an ultimate. Because another thing too is like sometimes you'll pop an ultimate right when you have just enough.
yeah.
Just enough loyalty. But like this, you obviously have to keep him on the field. But yeah, his is a +2. So I mean, you just gotta use it twice.
Oh, actually, I didn't even notice it was a +2. I was thinking it was a +1. But yeah, being a +2, and like you said, you can't just pop this at 8 loyalty counters, because if Tibalt dies, you are unable to play those cards that you exiled, and it basically becomes worthless. So, yeah. It's a weird card. It's a weird card in Rakdos. It's a weird card for Tibalt. Tibalt's a character that's all about chaos and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
They've definitely pulled back.
Some random aspect to it.
There's really no random aspect to this. I mean, yeah, it's random based.
No burn.
There is a aspect of randomness in terms of you don't know what your opponent's going to flip over. It could just be a land or something like that.
True.
But it's definitely not as random as it used to be. And I mean, his card was just utterly unplayable because of the randomness. So maybe this is a good direction for Tibalt.
Probably,
But it takes away his charm. I liked it.
The true chaos of it or whatever, right?
Yes, he's the Chaos Prince, and he's supposed to hurt you for some reason. But I guess he does hurt you by costing 7. There you go.
Yeah.
It's your own burn for costing too much.
Yeah.
So I want to see what his god side looks like.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see this.
The whole
All right, his flip side is Valky, God of Lies. Now, I assume that they were going to make Tibalt a Loki-esque character, and they are not hiding that reference in the least, calling him Valky, God of Lies. I mean, there's no subtlety involved here at all. But he is a legendary creature god. I'm assuming that this plays like the other flip cards that have come out recently, like the lands and stuff, where you basically pick a side. They don't switch. You can't switch them like mid-play or anything like that.
No.
So he's a 2/1 for 2 for 1 black mana. When he enters the battlefield, each opponent reveals their hand. For each opponent, exile a creature card they revealed this way until Valky leaves the battlefield. So, I'm trying to think of a card that mimics. It mimics that black Freelooter from Ixalan, right? So that kind of effect, so it allows you to exile a card until you lose play. So it's a little bit of a removal there. Then they have a added ability, pay X mana, choose a creature card exiled with Valky. With converted mana cost X, Valky becomes a copy of that card. Okay, so that's really interesting.
Yeah, so this is obviously a case of, you're getting out Valky as most times, and then if the game goes on long enough, you can play your Tibalt, I guess, is pretty much how it's going to go.
Yeah, so this card...
I mean, as a 2-drop, this guy seems pretty friggin' fun.
I was about to say...
And the fact that you get a Tibalt on the back end if you need it.
Exactly. I do like...
How it's going to go.
I do like that it's cheap. It's cheap, and it does something strange. It gives you a very nuanced effect. Something that you...
I mean, it's a disruption, and
I think,
honestly, this would be kind of fun to play.
Honestly, like if I had to pick Valky or Tibalt, like I'm liking the Valky side a lot more than Tibalt. It just seems way more playable. It gives you a lot more for less mana. Yeah. But I do like how they both have very similar effects. They're both exiling cards, and instead of playing the cards like Tibalt does, Valky becomes that card. So
yeah.
Interesting. And of course that plays a lot into the story of what Tibalt's doing here. He is pretending to be a god, so obviously he is shape-shifting all over the place. He's taking on the guise of other things. So this X ability it's very flavorful into what Tibalt is actually doing on Kaldheim. So all right, cool. So we got Tibalt turned into a god.
We'll probably have to move a little bit faster. I've got 15
I got you. So I'm just gonna... This is some alternate art, borderless. I mean, what are you gonna say? It looks beautiful.
Oh, now okay, those are nice bits of artwork for that.
And this is the Tibalt side.
Yeah,
love it. The borderless one's my favorite here. It's beautiful.
I love the new Kaldheim borders look so nice, especially with the
Yeah.
dual colors, like how you get the red
It
on the
really
one
does
side and
look
then
good.
black on the other side.
It really does look good. All
And
right, we're
that
just
borderless one, oh my god.
yeah.
Dang,
So
these are great.
we are just going to skip ahead here. We're going to go here.
Yeah.
This looks like it's some world building. So, anyone who knows even a little bit about Norse mythology, which if you're a gamer of any real metal, you will know Norse mythology because there's so many games that are loving Norse mythology in the past decade. So,
Totally.
we knew that there was going to be different realms inside of Kaldheim, holding different races, and there's going to be struggles between them, and they're all connected by this idea of a world tree. I can't even begin to tell you what a lot of these worlds are going to be like, and maybe they go into the stream. We know Axgard at the top left, that's going to be the realm of the dwarves. Surtland, we've already seen a couple giants. A couple of giants already have had that in their titles, like Surtland Flinger and stuff like that. So it's going to be Land of the Giants.
That's a pretty tribal seeming set then.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely, definitely very tribal-esque. Bredagard looks very human. Starnheim, I think, is like their version of Valhalla. Istfell, I think that is like the world of the ghosts. So we'll learn about these realms a little bit more as the story progresses. But
yeah, I got to see some of the like some of the art, like these the art for some of these full, and it's just beautiful. So I'm excited to kind of get a better look at some of these areas.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't
know what it
super
is
hyped
about the Bredagard one, but I'm really digging the sort of human aesthetic.
All right, so here we go. Like here's the creature types, like you were talking about: dwarves, humans, trolls, demons, spirits. Draugr. All right, people like fans of Skyrim. Draugr is going to be great on there. Personally love it.
I love the Valkyrie wings.
Yes. Okay. So Valkyries, that's their fancy word of saying angels. So they're angels, but they're they have a Nordic spin to them. Elves and giants, and of course not included on here is gods, but maybe not like a tribe.
Part of,
yeah, exactly. So they have five. There's 5 Viking clans apparently. Bezkir, I'm assuming.
One for each color.
Yeah, Bezkir, probably red. I want to say Berserker. I don't know. Maybe green. No, I don't know. Omen Seekers.
Wings. Unless they. No, yeah, it looks like they can. That's definitely looks like a green. It's so hard to tell when everything's snow. So.
Yeah, I know, because I was looking like, oh, it could be red because they're berserkers, but then there's the Tuskiri, which looks really red, and then could be green, but Kenna over there is also green, but it looks like there's 5 different clans.
Pretty much, it'll be like white, blue, black, red, green is my guess here.
Agreed. So we got just another card here. It's an uncommon legendary creature. We're not going to spend too much time on these. I know you have to go soon-ish. So 3/3 for 4 mana. When it enters the battlefield, scry 3, and when it dies, draw 3 cards. If 3 or more creatures died this turn. Okay.
Very interesting.
You have to have a complete like utter destruction on your It's gonna be
wipe the field. If it was in black, I could see it in like a sort of stacking kind of deck, but I'm not sure.
Very strange that a blue creature is going to work off of dying and then also other creatures dying. If they died and you got to draw a card, that's completely fine. But it needs to die along with 3 cards in total. So very strange. It's weird. Quickly, just noting on the flavor text. Every path ever charted by an Omen Seeker is etched into their eyes. Omen paths are like the Bifrost of Kaldheim, so it's going to be like that bridge that connects the realms. So obviously, this is going to be the clan of humans that track them and all that kind of stuff. So
that makes sense. Yeah,
good stuff. It's going to go over here. So we have a rare human warrior, Sigrid, God Favored, 3 mana, 2/2, flash, first strike, protection from god creatures. Of course, because we needed that.
There you go.
We needed that, man. It's gods are running rampant. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see.
Yeah. When they enter the battlefield. When they enter the battlefield, exile up to 1 target attacking or blocking creature until they leave the battlefield. So that's really good. It's a great combat trick. Flash them in, get rid of an attacker, completely disrupt them, and it stays exiled until they leave play. 3 mana for a 2/2 with all that. Phew, that is good. First strike flash.
It's pretty fun.
I'm loving it. I'm just gonna try and skip around. So we get a troll here, 4/4 for 3 mana, triple green trample. So it's big for a cheap cost if you're running mono green. When Old Growth Troll dies, if it was a creature, return it to the battlefield. It's an aura enchantment with Enchant Forest you control, and Enchanted Forest has tap, add 2 green, and tap 1 and tap itself. Sacrifice this land, create a tap. Okay, obviously this is a very weird jumbled mix of text. It's a troll, it's a creature, but it's also an aura enchantment.
Enchantment after.
Yeah.
Well, seems like it's going to be annoying. It's kind of just more or less you have this guy out, big beater. I mean, mono green seems like that'll be pretty intense.
Absolutely.
And then once you kill it, then he comes back in, and then you can just sack it to get another 4/4 guy out.
I mean,
I'm not excited to face that. I think that's going to be some serious like green beatdown.
It's insane value for a creature. I mean, obviously, it's triple green. Okay, so it's not like every standard environment hasn't had some variation of a mono green deck that just stomps on its opponents. So I'm sure he'll fit right in.
Still around. There's too much good just mono green beaters.
And this guy is insane value. You can attack with him every single turn and basically disregard if he dies or not, because if he dies, you get a land that gives you 2 mana instead, and then you can sacrifice that land and create a 4/4 troll again. It's so much value.
Got another guy back. Yeah, I see that being an issue, or at least, having to deal with that in some games, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Gonna skip over a little bit here. Got a card here. So, Elvish War Master. Of course, we are talking about tribes in Kaldheim.
Ooh, I love elves.
And this guy looks like he's going to be a great addition for a lot of elf decks. It's a 2/2 for 2 mana, already fantastic stat line to cost. Whenever 1 or more elves enter the battlefield under your control, create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token. It can only be triggered once per turn. So
that's cool. I like that.
Oh man, I don't know if it can only be triggered once per turn. Is it really that good? Just kidding. Of course, it's going to be fantastic. You're going to be able to overrun your opponent so quickly.
I mean, it would just be ridiculous if it didn't have that clause.
It would be the most push card in history, being a 2 mana 2/2. It already is going. If you get this card early, especially in limited, you're going to be able to flood your opponent unless they get rid of this thing immediately.
I like that the big buff for 7 mana is 2/2 and Death Touch. So
yeah,
it's like either you're blocking and dying or you're taking a bunch of damage. It seems like a intense card.
This is one of the rare cards that I'm just like, this thing is going to be good in all levels of the game, all stages.
For sure.
You want to play him early as possible to start getting as many elves out as you can, and then turn 7 or sooner or whatever you can get out, giving them all +2/+2 and Death Touch. It's a great way to sink your mana at the end of the game too. This card's insane.
Yeah.
All right, just gonna try and skip a little bit here.
Yeah, I'm definitely building around with that.
Yeah, this is like one of the best cards I've seen so far. Just trying to skip until we see some newish cards. All right, Showdown of the Scald. So, forgot what these are called. The sagas. Yeah, sagas. Okay, so sagas. Again, sagas, I've always loved sagas. I think that they're a great way to design a card that does multiple things without being too cumbersome.
So I just love the feeling of when you have multiple sagas going, and then it's just sort of just like you got these things triggering every turn. I just always love them. As soon as they were introduced, it became one of my favorite card types.
I'm sure I'm not the only one who has had an issue with basically keeping tabs on what's being triggered from my sagas on each turn. But still, that being said, it is 4 mana, red and white. First saga, exile the top 4 cards of your library until the end of your next turn. You may play those cards, so it gives you a little bit of card draw, a little bit limited in time you can play them, but it gives you access to 4 different cards that you didn't before.
Pretty much like borrow straw, more like it's
pretty
what
much
expect, yeah.
Exactly. And then it's second and third turns. Whenever you cast a spell this turn, you can put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. So it gives you a little bit of.
It doesn't have to be the one that you played, so you can buff up something else. That's cool. I like that.
That's cool. That's cool. It definitely is. It goes with. I mean, red white's always, in my idea, when I think of red white in terms of drafting, I think something a little bit faster than this. But it is a way to get a little bit of counters on you. It gives a little bit of card draw, card advantage. So yeah, it's a rare.
It's definitely slow for an aggro deck, but I don't know. I mean, it could be that little bit of oomph you need once you've run out of gas when you're
fighting,
right?
Yeah, and I always am thinking in terms of limited, so that might not be my cup of tea. Yeah. Sorry, my dog just came into my room. Get out of here, princess. And yeah, so if something's a little bit slower and it doesn't fit in my idea of an archetype that I could play in limited, completely disregard. That's just my personal opinion.
No, that's fair.
Yeah. And we already saw these two. They're the dual lands that are coming out. They're going to be these pathways are so good. I love them a lot.
I like them a lot.
Yeah, just having the ability to play them as whatever you need them with absolutely no downside.
Well, I mean, at least it's like, in a way, it is kind of good, in as opposed to like a regular dual land. It does mana fix, but it doesn't give you both mana forever, right? Which is sometimes the problem with all the dual lands, that can make them a bit much.
So this was like a very nuanced way for them to cut the power of dual lands a little bit, because it doesn't offer you that dual ability on the field all the time, but it gives you that
ability to fix here.
Exactly. It gives you that fix in hand, but when it hits the board, it's just an island or a forest.
Totally.
Cool.
No, yeah, I really like, as far as some of the dual lands that they've introduced lately, I definitely really like these. It's up there with like shock lands for some of my favorite lands.
Yep. So again, this is the god that we've already seen. You said you didn't see Halvar yet?
No, actually, when you were describing him, the god, that's the and I was like, oh, actually, I didn't see that.
So, gods coming back. Kaldheim, we've already said that they're not indestructible. They're much more mortal gods. Halvar being the god of battle, obviously he's going to be out there on the front line swinging that big old sword of the realms all over the place.
It's like they're pairing them up with artifacts, because it's not, I guess, necessarily that he is that artifact. I guess it's just like each one will have their signature weapon.
I think you're right on the money there, because it doesn't say Halvar becomes Sword of the Realms or anything like that. It's just you pick one or the other. It's like they're closely associated more so than anything else. Which is,
it'll definitely be cool seeing what each god's weapon will be, if it is like a constant theme, or maybe each one will have like their own like special artifact. Obviously the warrior god will have a weapon.
Absolutely. And I made a video that just went up yesterday, kind of going over what I think is going to happen in the story. So haven't read the story yet, just kind of gleaming off of cards here. But the Sword of the Realms is obviously going to be a reference to the spear that's used to operate and control the Bifrost in Norse mythology. You can see in this flavor text, it says it cuts through the cosmos itself, carving new omen paths between the realms. So this sword,
pretty on the nose,
absolutely references right there in your face. In the trailer for Kaldheim, the sword was all over the place, and Tibalt's talking about, it takes a god's weapon to cause chaos, blah blah blah. So it looks like he's gonna get his little devilly hands on the sword and cause chaos. But this is going to be integral to the story of Kaldheim for sure moving forward. So just keep an eye on that. Just going to move forward here a little bit. Just another pathway, some borderless art. We get some more cards. Okay, so we actually have a second god here. I've absolutely never seen this before, but heavy Odin vibes here. Odin being the god with the raven on his shoulder, missing an eye. Alrund, god of the cosmos, has a very Odin energy about him. He's a 1/1.
It's interesting that it's not just going to be all artifacts that it's just whatever
Yeah.
thing is associated with them. So we get this bird.
Exactly. Immediately, our initial thought and theory has been blown out of the water. Thanks, Wizards. But he is a 1/1 god for 5 mana, double blue. He gets +1/+1 for each card in your hand and each foretold card you own in exile. At the beginning of your end step, choose a card type, then reveal the top 2 cards of your library, put all cards of the chosen type into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. So, blue, lots of card advantage, loves card draw, loves you having a full stacked hand, and loves foretold.
Seems pretty awesome.
So, as the Odin character, it having a connection with the mechanic foretold, which is basically just morph from Takir, if you're familiar with that. And yeah, go ahead.
The bird here as well, it's got like its own bounce and it's within blue. Like, I wonder if that's just going to be a thing in itself with this set.
Yeah. So I actually love the bird a lot. I'm not a control player at all. So when I see Alrund, I'm just like, ew, he's only a 1/1 for that much mana. Gross. Get the heck out of here. But then I see the 2/3. I'm like, oh, 2/3 flyer for 2. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'll take the bird. Screw the god. But it being a 2/2 flyer for 2 mana, obviously that's pretty pushed, especially in limited. It being able
to get tossed back in your hand if he does deal damage.
Exactly. He does get flung back into your hand without it having haste. It kind of really slows it down a lot. So he's not an aggro 2/3 flyer for 2, not at all. But it does give you the added benefit of scrying 2 when it bounces. So it's not bad.
Steven, I'm actually going to have to leave the stream. I'll have to let you finish it off yourself.
It's okay. I'm only mildly disappointed, but I understand the rigors of family life.
Yeah, it is what it is. At least we'll have it pretty properly set up for the next time.
Absolutely.
I think we definitely should do this again next time.
No, absolutely. I loved it. I love having you here. Talking with you has been fantastic. If you want, you can tell people about your channel real quick before you log off, where to go, what you're all about.
Yeah, for sure. DiceTry, if you are familiar with my channel or not, I would search it up on YouTube. I make Magic the Gathering lore and color philosophy videos. So if you're very curious about that aspect of Magic, especially the color philosophy side, then check out my channel. But yeah, I have to roll out now and take care of some personal stuff. So I'll catch you all later, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, man. I'll make sure that I link your channel in the description of this video so you guys can check him out. He's a great guy, guys. So enjoy your day. Thank you so much for joining us.
All right, thanks. Have a good one.
You too, man. All right, guys. So now it's just me. You're stuck with only me again. Sorry. I knew we were coming up on a time crunch. We just literally, I contacted him today. I was like, hey, dude, you want to just like look at cards with me because we're both at home and we're not watching it live? And yeah, he was like, sure. And I was like, oh god, now I have to cobble together a stream to like do this. I didn't know he was gonna just say yes like that. I was like, all right, let's do this. But he had some other obligations he told me about before we started this, so I knew we were gonna have a time crunch. Couldn't get into it, couldn't get all the way through with him, but I really appreciated him joining me, and hopefully I can do this with him and other content creators moving forward, because I'm having a lot of fun just talking shop, talking cards with other people. But we're going to finish. I'm going to finish giving you my thoughts and ideas of the cards that moving forward, because I know we got some juicy stuff coming in on the tail end here of the stream. So we're just going to move forward a little bit. They're talking art. It's fantastic. So we got another saga here, Binding of the Old Gods. Now that triggers a lot of relevance for me because I'm a avid World of Warcraft player. So Old Gods speaks to something evil, speaks to something that the gods of Kaldheim probably had to deal with before we got into the story today. So there's a lot of ancient history, world building for Kaldheim in this card probably that hopefully we can learn about later as the story kind of develops. So it's a 4 mana. We got Golgari colors. Destroy target non-land permanent and opponent controls. So that's great. Deals with something right off the bat. Search your library for a forest card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle your library. So a little bit of ramp. And it's third turn. Creatures you control gain death touch until end of turn. So The third one's not as exciting, but it gives you the opportunity to kind of build up your side of the board before you can go all out with some Death Touch creatures. It ain't bad. But I don't want to get copyright stricken. Alright, so we had some people in the community saying that snow-covered lands could come back. Of course, we haven't seen snow-colored lands for quite a while, like the Cold Snap era. That was even before I started playing the game, so that was kind of the last time we actually saw snow-covered lands. They act basically just like every other land, forest, mountain, swamp, whatever, but they have cards associated with them that have added benefits based upon how many snow-covered lands you have. So this artwork is obviously stunning. I'm a huge lover of mountainous natural environments. I love going up to my mountain retreat. No, it's my grandmother's place up in the mountains. It's beautiful up there. I love the scenery. This is all scenic. So all of this art, snow, mountains, it's beautiful. Absolutely love it. So I'm glad to see these back. Also, this frost kind of effect on the bottom part of the cards here, oh my god, just fantastic. Love it. So it looks like they're going to have a couple of dual lands too. Some just common enters the battlefield tapped dual lands that are also snow covered. So oh my god, this is fantastic. In terms of like artwork, the availability of gorgeous mountainous northern kind of snowy art is just phenomenal. And this ice tunnel one, that's blue black, whew, crisp, love it. All right, and we knew there was going to be some cards that worked off of snow permanent, snow lands, and Frostbite is our first kind of example of that. It's a 1 mana instant, deals 2 damage to target creature or planeswalker, and if you control 3 or more snow permanents, it deals 3 damage instead for 1 mana at instant speed. I love how it is a, it's an instant card, but it has the prefix snow in it. It's a snow instant, which is amazing. I love that. Artwork is fantastic, as always, and this is really good. So for a limited player like me, doing 3 damage at instant speed for 1 mana is just fantastic, and it really builds an emphasis for players who kind of draft snow permanents out of their packs, picking that snow land. Oh, picking a land in a pack? If you have a couple Frostbites, yeah, you're going to want to grab some snow lands. It does make it a lot better. Doing 3 damage instead of 2 is fantastic for 1 mana. It becomes instead of a shock, it becomes a lightning bolt. Sure, I'll take it. I think lightning bolt's 3 damage. Pretty sure. But yeah, it really ups the power of this card a lot. And really, when you're drafting, it puts a pretty high emphasis on drafting some snow-covered lands. Love it. I don't want to get stricken by copyright. All right, another card here. All right, so we got a legendary creature, a demon rogue. Right off the bat, I'm going to say his artwork doesn't make him look very roguish to me. He's wielding a gigantic, deadly looking battle axe. Not really sure how roguish he can be, but his name is Varagath, Blood Sky Sire. For 2 generic and 1 black, he's a 2/3 legendary creature, demon rogue, with Death Touch and Boast. So Boast is a new mechanic. This is my first time seeing it, so bear with me a little bit. 1 generic, 1 black. Target player searches their library for a card, then shuffles their library and puts that card on top of it. Activate this ability only if a creature attacked this turn and only once each turn. So it looks like Boast is an ability that you can play after you're attacked. Oh, after only if this creature attacked this turn. So Boast is an ability that you can play as your creature is attacking or after this creature has attacked. In this Boast ability for 2 mana, target player searches their library for a card, then shuffles their library and puts that card on the top of it. So obviously you're going to use that on yourself. You're going to search up something great and put it on the top of your library for your next turn. That's fantastic, obviously. Like, that's really good. It gives you card advantage, but specific card advantage for what you're trying to do at that moment in time. This card's fantastic. I love it. It is only a 2/3, but it only costs 3 mana, and the boast cost is only 2. So you get this guy out early, especially in limited games, you're going to be able to basically dictate how the game's going to go by getting exactly what you need on top as your turns continue. It's amazing. This is a good card. Sarolf's Packmate. So I don't know who Sarolf is. Again, a lot of the world building, it may have happened in this stream, but since I'm not watching it, just kind of picking through it, I might be missing it, and I'll watch it again later to pick up any of the story elements of it. But for this, it's a 3/3 wolf for 4 mana, 1 green. When it enters the battlefield, you draw a card. Okay, cool. And this is a good way to show us what Foretell is. So I did know what Foretell it was going into this stream, so it's not like catching me off guard. It's like Morph from Tarkir. So Morph from Tarkir, you were able to play a creature at a certain generic mana cost, and it came to the battlefield flipped upside down as a 2/2, and then you could pay its Morph cost to flip it back up to its original side as kind of like a combat trick. So it comes into play as like a 2/2, almost like a token. Then you can morph it into like a 6/6 worm or whatever the card is and block with that. And your opponent doesn't really know what you have there. To them, it's just a 2/2. It could be anything. So Foretell is very similar in that. So it's this Wolf's Foretell is 2 mana. So during your turn, you may pay 2 mana to generic, exile this card from your hand face down, and cast it on a later turn for its Foretell cost. So you can't flip it right away, and it's not actually in play, it's in exile face down, but you can still play it as a combat trick. Cast it on a later turn, so it doesn't have to be on your turn. But yeah, again, this is like a combat trick. You can pay the 2 mana, which is its Foretell cost, and get it into play, so you get to pick exactly when you want to draw this card, maybe when you want to block an opponent's creature, and they don't know exactly what's in exile, so they don't know how big it is, so they can't really work around it. It's actually awesome. I like Foretell as a mechanic. I loved Morph as a mechanic, and this is just a different variation of Morph, so I'm here for it. All right, there it is. That's what it's going to be in exile as, I guess. And yeah, it has the Odin character's little raven there. Okay, so we already know who Alrund is, the Odin type character, and this is kind of a sorcery tied to him for 5 generic and double blue, so it's pretty expensive. Sorcery speed, create 2 1/1 blue bird creature tokens with flying, take an extra turn after this one, and then exile Alrund's Epiphany. So obviously super strong for 7 mana. You get to take an extra turn after this one and create 2 1/1 birds with flying. The 2 1/1 birds is kind of like whatever, but it's added onto an already powerful effect, which is taking an extra turn, of course. And then you can foretell this card as well, but it doesn't save you too much time. So you pay the 2 mana to get it out early, get it out of your hand early if you want to protect it from maybe some like hand searching mechanic from your opponent. But you can get it out there in exile quickly for only 2 generic mana, and then you can foretell it later. You know, it's only 1 turn earlier. So hold on, I'm gonna close this door real quick because my wife is playing with my dog with a squeaky ball, and I don't know if you guys can hear that. Whew. Okay. So yeah, you only get this maybe a turn early if you foretell it, but it's obviously better. You know, you're getting it out a turn early, you're always going to take that. Always. It's a strong card. Expensive, but strong. Love this borderless art too. It's amazing. Much better than the regular. Alright. So we got some more artwork here. It looks like we're coming to the end of the stream. Oh, this is going to be like arena stuff. We got the list. All right. And so I know they were doing a bunch of weird stuff here. Talking about COVID, always a fun topic. And then we kind of like come to the end of the stream here, and I already know what's kind of coming. I mean, I got hunted a little bit on social media. Oh, the big reveal. Vorinclex. Murderous Raider. Wow. Oh my goodness. In the full Phyrexian text to make it unreadable to anybody who doesn't speak pure Praetor, which I do not. So Vorinclex is official. The Phyrexians are going to be on Kaldheim. We don't know how yet officially how they're getting to Kaldheim and what their role is going to be in the story. But we kind of already knew that the Vorinclex specifically was going to be here. The card was leaked. Apparently, a copy of it was found in somebody's random Commander Legends. So I don't know how the heck that happens. But apparently it happens from time to time. And it was leaked extremely early. I made a video about this actually literally just yesterday and went live. So if you guys want to know a little bit more about Vorinclex and my theory about how they're there, go ahead and watch that video. I spent a lot of time figuring out how how the story might actually include the Praetors without actually breaking the MTG universe. But by the end of that video, I kind of already convinced myself that Vorinclex, that this leak was legitimate, and that the Praetor is going to be involved in Kaldheim somehow. Now, it looks like they spent most of this initial stream here not talking about them, building up the world itself. So we're still going to have a lot of questions moving forward on what the Phyrexians are doing here and how they're involved. But it doesn't look like they're going to be having a heavy presence on Kaldheim. It's not like they're going to be the biggest threat to the plane. It's not going to be the thing that the heroes are fighting against. More like it's going to be kind of like a side plot that probably gets us to return to New Phyrexia. So we do know that Karn as a Planeswalker, and I'm sorry guys, I am rambling here because this is my jam, this is my topic. But Karn as a character, we already know that he helped on Dominaria. He helped with the War of the Spark. He all but joined the Gatewatch kind of thing, and all throughout he's like, no, my end mission is going to be New Phyrexia. I need to get back there. I need to stop the Praetors. I need to stop the Phyrexians from overtaking my world. I'm going to do something to stop them. So we know that storyline is there, and Kaldheim might be the catalyst that gets us to New Phyrexia. This is the first time we've seen a Phyrexian since that New Phyrexia era, so it can't just be a coincidence. It can't just be that Vorinclex is on Kaldheim just to cause pure destruction and chaos. No. Karn is going to get word of this. Karn is going to know that the Phyrexians are expanding, willingly or not, expected or not. The Praetors, the Phyrexians, have gotten to a different world. His ideal to contain and then destroy from within is broken, shattered. And he caused it all. He's the reason that the Phyrexians came back. He wasn't a willing participant in that, obviously. He had the Phyrexian oil in him, and it kind of just created this new world while he was absent. But he feels responsible. And not only do the Phyrexians consume his own world and the denizens there, but it looks like now they're branching out to his eyes. Now, I don't think they're actually branching out and attacking Kaldheim, but they are there. And that's a consequence he's going to have to deal with. So, I don't know how much it's going to play into the Kaldheim story, but Vorinclex is going to be involved, for sure. And I gotta figure out, I'm going to see if I can bring up a Vorinclex card real quick. Let me see. Hold on. Give me 1 second, guys. Vorinclex. Murderous Raider. Like I said, guys, I went into super heavy detail about this in the last video that you guys can find linked in the description below. But, yeah. So I'm not going to talk too much about the story implements here. Let's see. We got this guy. Right here. I know. So it's a 6/6 for 4 generic double green legendary creature, Phyrexian Predator, Trample Haste. If you would put one or more counters on a permanent or player, put twice that many of each of those counters on that permanent or player instead. Obviously, that harkens back to original Phyrexians with the hell they called? Blight counters, toxic counters. I forgot what they're called. You guys are gonna flame me for this completely, and understandably so. But yeah, so counter-driven Phyrexians are always been kind of counter-driven. Infect, thank you, Roger in chat. Thank you for letting me know. Infect, that was like blight, close enough, right? It's whatever. So if an opponent would put one or more counters on a permanent or player, they put half that many counters. So not only does it provide you a benefit for your counters on your side of the field, but it also provides you with some protection from your opponent's counters. So yeah, that's awesome. And actually, I'm gonna see if I can see. Does the stream? Oh, okay. So the stream does give you the English version. I was about to say, do they really just, for the vast amount of people who watch this stream for the first time seeing Vorinclex, do they just not tell you about what its card abilities are? That would have been dumb. But yeah. Infect, poison counters. Okay, you guys are right. Awesome. Thank you for letting me know that. But yeah, this this alternate art is beautiful. I've never seen Vorinclex look quite like this. It's kind of weird to see him from different angles and different art styles, because I'm so ingrained with the idea of him looking like what he does in New Phyrexia, you know? But it looks like he's holding a baby right here. Is that a baby? It could just be a very frail man, but that looks like a baby. It looks like he's staring into it. So he could be quite terrifying. But yeah, so this card is fantastic. It is a 6/6 Trample Haste for 6, so it's right there. It's fine. But its ability to give you more counters and have your opponent's counters is pretty fantastic. I love it. All right, guys. I think confirmed it is a baby. Rip that kid. And yes, D. Shapiro, does someone have the Silex? Yeah, Karn has the Silex. I'm pretty sure that Karn collected the Silex when he was in Dominaria. I might be a little bit fuzzy on that, but I think it was either they're looking for it, he either knows about it, or he physically has it. So, yes, of course it's a good card. It is green. Green will always get the beasts of the beasts. The best of the beasts. There you go. Imagine it being white. No, I can't imagine it. It's not possible. Anyway, guys, I think that's going to end the stream for today. I do want to do these on a more regular basis, especially as cards come out. I do feel it's like a lot of fun just talking with you guys in chat, maybe bringing on other content creators to talk shop, talk about some cards. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. I didn't actually watch the stream for Kaldheim, but at the same time, it was a lot of fun just picking through the cards and just talking with you guys about it. But yeah, guys, thank you so much. I'm going to be doing these more often, hopefully. Dude, love you too, Aftergood. Love you too. But hopefully you guys can join me. And I'm going to put this video up on like as a VOD or something, so maybe other people will know that I'm going to be streaming. And maybe other people will come join. Now, it does involve me having to get like back into Arena a little bit, and I've been like a little kind of iffy with Arena. But I have been playing a lot of World of Warcraft lately because the new expansion came out, and I'm really into it because I'm a nerd with no life, and I like to spend a lot of time in a virtual world. So, either way, we'll talk more cards later. Thank you guys so much for joining, and I'll see you next time. See ya!